Warm welcome from Citrix to a Citrix Ready technical webinar series. My name is Rubal Walia. I'm the Alliances and Partner Marketing Manager at Citrix Ready. And today we are bringing you this very interesting webinar together with a partner, Flexible IT. Now at Citrix, we've had a big push towards the Citrix Workspace with intelligence and to be able to enable our customers to be using micro apps on our platform, right? And obviously, we've gone some distance to creating micro apps. There's one challenge our customers often face trying to analyze what sort of workflows should be transformed into micro apps. And our partner in crime today, Flexible IT, has a solution which can actually help you. They can help you analyze the user behavior and figure out what are those repetitive workflows that could be transformed potentially into micro apps on Citrix Workspace. So I have two wonderful speakers today. Let me quickly bring them on for a quick introduction. Nigel, thank you for joining the webinar. You want to tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Hi, yes, my name is Nigel Woods. I'm Business Development Manager for Apps2Digital, which is part of the Flexible brand. And I sort of specialized really over the last 25 years on Citrix solutions and very much about how we make the applications work within a Citrix solution. So really excited to show you some of the insights that we're working on with Citrix on this.
Thank you, Nigel. Looking forward to hearing from you. And you also have my good friend Rado on the webinar. Rado, you want to tell the audience who you are and what you do at Citrix?
Thank you, Rubel. Hello, everyone. My name is Rado Hrabčák, and I work as the Director of Product here in Citrix. I've been at Citrix for 3 years, and I came to Citrix as part of a software acquisition 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, almost. And basically, I'm responsible for a product management team that is responsible for building microapp service that is a part of Citrix Workspace offering, and we will be talking about it more in details today.
Thank you, gentlemen. So guys, a few housekeeping details. This webinar is being recorded and you'll receive a recording in your inbox in the next 24 hours. There's a question and answer panel on your GoToWebinar interface. If at any point of time you have any questions, please feel free to chat them in. If they are, for individually questions for you, we'll try and help them answer over chat. If there's a question that makes sense to the entire audience, we'll take them up in the formal Q&A session in the end. But please feel free to chat them out as we go through the webinar. Next slide, please. I just want to take a quick minute here to talk about Citrix Ready. For some of you who may not know what Citrix Ready is, we are basically the first step for our audience, for our partners, where they sort of integrate their technologies with Citrix. And for our customers, whenever you're looking for any third-party partner solution that you want to deploy into your Citrix infrastructure, this is the place to be. Nigel, if you can help me switch to the next slide, please. There's a quick URL given over there about Citrix Ready Marketplace. If you want to analyze and look at some of these third-party solutions, please feel free to visit citrixready.citrix.com. And with that, without further ado, let me hand this over to Nigel. Nigel, over to you.
Thanks, Rubal. And I think you were just going to explain about the webinar prize things.
I'm sorry about that. I missed that. Obviously, we are running a promo on this webinar. So every 10th attendee on this webinar will receive a set of wireless earbuds. And please stay tuned. End of the webinar, I'll tell you how to claim your gift. And now finally over to you.
Thanks, Rubal. So we have an agenda today, and I'm going to pass this over to Rado shortly. I'll just go through this and a bit of an introduction. I won't go through all the slides. There's quite a lot of slides today, as usual, but we will be sending those as well. I like to have lots of slides. I don't necessarily talk a huge amount through some of them. Some are fairly self-evident. Some just need a little bit more time than we get through the webinar, but it's important to get across all the sort of things we're doing. So we're going to start really by just putting the scenario around this. Why should we be using Citrix Workspace with intelligence? And that's where Rado will explain how this works and how the digital workflows with microapps are built, so that we get a good understanding of the reasons we need to do this. I'll then go and do an introduction to Apps2Digital and show you through presentations some of the ways we discover these and how we work with Citrix to improve the productivity of these applications. And we'll finish with Q&A. So, who are Flexible IT? We were founded in 2008 and founded in Spain, but we are worldwide and very much focused originally on automating the Citrix Workspace. So we were very much focused on Citrix virtual apps and desktops and the automation and the management of that. What we realized as we move forward is that it's not just about making the quickest and the best virtual desktop out there. And we need to be able to understand those applications as well. So what we've been working with the Apps2Digital brand is this ability to understand everything that's being run about applications, and I'll show you some of that as we move forward. But with that, of course, Citrix Workspace with intelligence has come out from the Sappho acquisition, and that fits really nicely into the information that we can gain across the board around everything we do with SaaS apps, and we can then start mapping that to the microapps. So that's where we've come from, and without further ado, I'll hand you over to Rado to talk you through some of this.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you for a nice introduction. And let me start with this first slide, and let me explain a little bit how we understand employee experience and what does it mean. And this slide was put together based on the original graphic from Jacob Morgan, who is the visionary speaker. And at the highest level, employee experience is a measure of employee satisfaction. The question we should ask is, as an employer, are we meeting employee expectations in terms of needs and wants of what employees expect from or in the workplace? Depending on how well we do this, the employee will feel a certain level of happiness, and this is what we want to maximize. The reason being is that recent studies have shown that when it comes to employee experience, workers care less about perks like subsidized gym memberships or like Taco Tuesday perks. But when it comes to what they are really keen about is the technology and tools provided by their employer to help them to do their jobs effectively. Next slide, please. Thank you. When searching the internet, you may find different formulas for measuring employee experience as it relates to technology and company culture. At Citrix, we use this very simple equation to define our view of employee experience. Employee experience should not be confused with productivity only, because a productive employee is ideal, but if that employee isn't engaged, what will they do with all their newfound extra time resulting from their better productivity tools? It is critical for employees to be and feel engaged with work. I'll give you a personal example. My best days at work are when I get in a zone, limit distractions, and make great progress on deliverables, maybe a PowerPoint presentation just like this one, or delivering a third webinar in a row like today. And to me, there is no better feeling than completing a task or assignment, sending it out for review, and leaving work for the day with a sense of accomplishment. That to me is employee experience. That's what makes me excited about coming back to the work the next day. And as individuals, we grow, progress, and gain confidence when we can maximize employee experience. If we can go to the next slide, that is based on a study conducted by Gallup Institute called Gallup State of the Workplace, and that study, that research proved and figure out that only 33% of employees are actively engaged at work, and 51% of those are not engaged, and 16% of those are even actively disengaged. What does that mean for employers? There is a huge amount of cost for those employees to be paid, and the employers don't maximize the potential of their employees. What is driving the investment in employee experience? As I said, 51. Sorry, Nigel, please could we go to the next slide? 51% of employees are not engaged, as I said on previous slide. For 80% of all business applications, employees use just 4 or 5 key functions. So imagine you work with a Workday, for example, that is your HR system, and what are the key functionalities they use typically? It's submit PTO, approve PTO, maybe some annual touch points, and a couple of small things. But the system is robust, and it brings a lot of, or a big burden of navigation, searching the information for the employees that needs to navigate and that use this system only on casual or occasional basis, as opposed to professionals, the HR professionals, that spend most of their time in a workday. And at Citrix, we are trying to find a solution for this problem. 47% of business leaders say the biggest contribution to employee engagement is ease of access to information required to get work done. That is another big problem that we are trying to solve with Workspace at Citrix. And only 1/3 of employees are very satisfied with the mix of tooling to get their work done. And they need to use too many apps that are too complex, and they bring a lot of pain points. With 40% thinking the number of apps they have to use will only increase. And 4 out of 5 IT leaders believe employee experience is critical to their digital transformation. So as a lot of enterprises are going through the digital transformation process, IT leaders are focused on delivering the best of breed experience, because imagine the millennials that are used to modern apps like Uber or Airbnb, and then you provide them a mainframe terminal they never seen, which creates a lot of disruption for them. Could we go to the next slide, please? And this is how we at Citrix approach the solution for this problem. These are answer to that. And what we are trying to do is basically build a solution on 3 key pillars that we call organize, guide, and automate. And we want to provide, based on those 3 pillars, secure, unified access to the apps and content employees need to work with. Let them quickly access what is relevant to them, protect their data, bring and build their own apps. We want to help them, or we want to guide them through the experience, and we want to guide them through the work and tasks they need to be done. So contextually make recommendations and provide the intelligent assistance. Imagine you are trying to schedule a meeting with your team, and meeting is related to some customer, say Acme, and Workspace would recommend you the content, the files, the documents that are related to that customer. And you can create a collaborative workspace for your team to put together the information from those different documents into the presentation for the customer. And we also want to help employees with the automation, and we want to let them automate the repetitive tasks and to increase their productivity by that. Also to provide a batch task, like for example, a batch approval of a couple of concur expense reports that they could accomplish just by one click. Simple as that. Let's go to the next slide to walk me through how the new intelligent experience look like. In the past, a lot of our customers lived in a solution called Storefront, which was basically the secure gate to launching Citrix virtual labs and desktops. Storefront evolved into, with our transition to cloud, to the Citrix Workspace, which was another launchpad. But we added the intelligent features to that. And those intelligent features provide or are being built on a top of 3 pillars I was talking about. If you could click, Nigel. So starting with assisted search that will provide employees better navigation through the data and documents they have available in the workspace. Personalized feed, as you know from many different systems like LinkedIn, Facebook. This feed is or intends to make employees more productive by providing them personalized and actionable information. So they can get the information about a new colleague that was hired and just being onboarded, or they can straight away click on a card approve button and approve the expense report if the information on a card is sufficient. If not, they can click on a card and the blade pops up to show them more details about the expense report. We could click a couple times more, Nigel. Awesome. And we're getting to the point. We're getting to the microapps. So what the employees can see in a feed are the information not only from microapps. It can be also from other Citrix services, like the files that are being shared with the employees. But we are getting to the point, and what we are seeing as number 5 is basically the blade with the microapp content that allows employee to see the details, to interact with the content that is part of a microapp. Now let's go a little bit further to the next slide. Awesome. And this experience that I was talking about is available to the employees not only on their computers, but also on their mobile devices. So basically they can be informed and they can perform their tasks not only while they are sitting in the office or at home, but also on the go, at the airport, in the train, when traveling. So let's click it. Okay. Now to the point about or to the point what the microapps really are. You can consider, or you can imagine microapps as a small task-specific applications that delivers a highly targeted functionality. I'll give you an example. So imagine you want to file your or you want to submit your PTO request, and you have a simple form in a Citrix Workspace Blade, which is basically the microapp for submitting a PTO. Your manager has or is being informed about you filed a PTO request in whatever system you or company uses, and manager can approve this PTO request straight away from the feed or from the blade. The beauty of that is that regardless of what system you use for your HR management, you can have a similar form for employees to file an incident that occurred to them with a system they use, to take a screenshot of the incident and submit an incident. Again, the form looks exactly the same. Of course, the field labels are different, but the PTO request can go to a Workday, while incident information can go to Zendesk, ServiceNow, or whatever other service the system your organization uses. This basically removes the distraction for employees to context switching, trying to recall the flows in those specific system information, and through the workspace they have a one-stop shop for doing multiple tasks over different systems without context switching. Let's go to the next slide, Nigel. I put together the couple of key use cases that you can imagine you can solve in your organization with a workspace. So starting with return to office, which is very, very present for all of us, hopefully, and we will get back to the office soon. You can provide your employees a way to provide a facilities feedback, some crisis communication, or COVID-19 self-certification. You can think about the IT self-service use case where your employees can basically report the incidents, request assets, search through the knowledge base, everything at one place in a workspace through the microapps. There are also, or you can imagine also HR self-service use cases like some admin tasks, workforce management. You can imagine best-of-breed collaboration like meeting management. Imagine you want to schedule your GTM meeting, or imagine you want to schedule your, I don't know, Google Meet meeting. You can do that from within Workspace through the microapp without need going to a specific application to be able to do that. Same applies to sales productivity, like account ownership, account management, for example, opportunity management that salespeople need to do. The research says that salespeople spend only 34% of their time selling, and the rest of their time they spend on admin tasks. So why can't we, or why shouldn't we help them to streamline the admin work and give them more time for selling? It will bring benefits for them because they will get better or higher incentives, as well as for the organization. And then lastly, but it's definitely not the last, is the employee well-being set of use cases. So you can imagine employee kudos, employee surveys, employee broadcast use cases. Let's get to my last slide. And this is basically the slide that bridges from workspace, the employee happiness and productivity, to how to proceed further with identifying the right flows for microapps. What is the best way to do that? Think about it as the workflows that will help to resolve the pain points and bring the value to the employees. Think also about the highest density of employees that you can cover, because it helps to multiply the benefit for your organization. Think about the big likelihood of a high usage and adoption of this specific workflow. Like, for example, if the employees are reporting or submitting timesheets every week, why can't we make their life easier and provide them a simple form as a micro app that could be pre-filled with data that doesn't change that much for them, and increase their productivity. Also think about Chris' definition of a persona and the use case for the specific personas. The IT admins or IT admin needs will be most likely very different than the secretary needs. So think also about like who is the target persona for using those microapps. And I'll hand over here to Nigel to walk you through about how Apps2Digital and flexible IT can help you to identify the right workflows and use cases that you can convert into the microapps. Over to you, Nigel.
Thanks, Rado. That's great. Thought that was really important that we set the scene on this. And as I say, all of the years that I've been creating virtual desktops for people, it's been clear, particularly through the pandemic, that there's a lot of people working from home now, and if we can merge this ability to run both locally and virtually when we need to, and have an easier way, a more productive way of working, then productivity will increase. And interestingly, Rado talked about well-being at the end there as well. It's another module of that we work with, which Apps2Digital powers around digital well-being as well. And of course, one part of digital well-being is, can you access your applications in the most timely and most performant method? If you can't, then that reduces your digital well-being. So this really is all important in that piece. So we're going to show you a little bit and talk you through how we measure this productivity and study the workflows around this. So what's Apps2Digital? So we ensure the effective remote working. So our aim of the organization is to help with any digital transformation. So when we talk about this, this is not just picking up your old systems and moving them forward, which is what we've tended to do over the years. I've done this many times, of just literally going in every 5, 6 years, taking some apps, moving them to a latest operating system, delivering a Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop solution, and then 5 or 6 years you go back. And with the way we're changing things, we now need to be able to not only do similar things to that, but actually be able to look and reassess how we deliver those applications. We've delivered them for too many years in the same method. So hence why we see this workspace thing really is important. So how do we make this work? We discover the applications. So we have a endpoint agent that sits not only on Windows. Windows is for the discovery of the applications. We also have agents for Mac and Android at the moment. We will be doing others, which allows us to look at everything that a user is doing. So one real key piece of this is that the user is in control of some of this data as well, because of the privacy issues, etc. So what we're doing is we're making sure that the data that we're getting is just for improving performance or for assessment of these applications. So once we've discovered these applications, we assess their credentials, how much resources they use, how many times they're used. So we're looking at the running applications, and then of course we're looking at which ones are suitable from a software as a service perspective to take to microapps, which we'll talk about further. We then have a packaging engine. So a lot of these applications, maybe they be delivered via Workspace, via microapps, but of course, a lot of them will still be delivered by virtual apps and desktops. So we have the ability to automate the packaging as well. So we can create packages into any of the standard Microsoft formats, including MSIX and AppAttach, which are the latest versions from Microsoft, which are taking over from MSI and AppV. And then to automate the delivery of these, get these in the right user groups, so that it doesn't matter if it's a physical microapp that we're doing or a virtual apps and desktops application. We'll have one method of all the way from discovery to deliver for all of these applications. So in Apps2Digital, we have 2 modules. What we consider is, we call it application landscape transformation. It's sort of the traditional, let's understand everything about the application, bring them into a catalog. Then we use the term evergreen a lot these days. So what we want to do is, we don't want to just discover these applications once and then do a project and go back 6 years' time. With what we've got with the Windows, particularly with Microsoft Windows 10, Windows 2019 semi-annual channel, we have to make sure that our application repository is available and up to date at all times, so that at any stage we can redeploy all of the applications that are required to any device. That's whether it's physical applications, virtual applications, or through the microapps. And then we created the microapps module. This is all about boosting user productivity. If we make these applications easier to get to, easier to find, I use accountancy apps and things like that. I haven't a clue at the beginning of the month when I go into them where to get things. All I want to do is I have about 4 or 5 things I do on this app. I just want links directly in my workspace to show me that these are the pieces I need to do. Click on them, they will authenticate for you, and they give you the piece that you need of that application. So by doing that, that would boost my productivity. But we need to be able to measure who needs these. So I can use Apps2Digital to show that I have these particular sequences in these SaaS apps that maybe already have a micro app that's been created, but if it isn't, then we can create those micro apps as well. And at all times, we need to be able to discover these sequences. We call them sequences when we identify a URL that's repeatable, that several people are using. So then we can then define that and say that actually we will create from this sequence a micro app around this. And then by bringing these individual pieces together, we can create workflows. So as Rado was talking around, there's quite often several steps you do, maybe even into different applications, that if we can bring together as a workflow through Workspace, we're going to make our life a lot easier. So if it makes our lives a lot easier, it makes our users' lives a lot easier as well. Give them make the desktop a lot simpler than it is at the moment. As I spoke about, one of the key things was being able to deploy these applications. You'll see on the right-hand side the type of screens that we deliver, very easy to actually see what's available and how we could package those. But the key piece today is microapps. And yet again, from the same console, from the same management console, we can not only see all those applications, but we have this microapps piece, which will allow you to easily see all of the applications that are coming in, all the users that are using those applications, and then be able to translate those into microapps that are available for you, or the ability to create them. So next piece is to look at how we discover and match these, and we start with the architecture. So what we do is we look at every event that's happening. We look at where those URLs are being accessed and create a query around all of these and put these into the database. So we always learning. We have a microservice that goes on top of the browser, which allows us to see all of this information and to quantify where those repeatable steps are. And then we integrate directly into Citrix Cloud. So once we've got all this information, we can actually look in through to the workspace so that we can integrate and set all of this up as well. So we collect the data from the agents, and this is all cloud-based. So this basically talks to an Azure cloud instance that we have. We have a database for each company so that they have their individual data in there. And then we use machine learning to understand what we need to track to find these URLs. Every time we get a new customer, we're adding new data on here. So we take the learning that we get from that customer, we bring and anonymize it so that we're always continually learning more about people's organizations, and then be able to track even more microapps with that. how do we do this? All the appearing domains are categorized by taxonomy. So looking at categories of how they come up, you as an administrator of this can decide actually which ones of these many domains that you find, many URLs that you find, do you actually want to start categorizing? So that's one of the options that you have, is just to pin it down to the particular applications that you're seeing. You wouldn't want to be probably categorizing Facebook or WhatsApp or any of these sort of things. So you need to find the software service apps that that you want to concentrate on. So we have tick boxes to actually be able to say to track them. If we track them, that's when this machine learning comes in to work out where people are using which parts of these applications. So for each tenant, we take out just the data that we move. So we've only done the domains that we've chosen, and it goes in through to our SaaS apps and Microsoft and our Citrix Microapps discovery module. This then discovers the sequences that are required, and then we can create the batch processes to create reports around this, because not only do we want to discover sequences, we want to discover who's using them, how long they're using them, because one of the really good things around this is the reporting to show you how much productivity you can gain by making these microapps. So we're looking at how long people are in these particular processes. Of course, there'll be lots of people using the same pieces of flow of workflows, so it's important that we look at every case of these and we analyze as we go through, so we can classify per SaaS app and allow that to come through to the machine learning, which will then discover those sequences around them. We use a couple of tools that around the machine learning, around graph databases and machine learning framework to allow us to gain this data as we require. And then Apps2Digital admins can link those sequences with existing microapps. So we have a list of all the microapps that Citrix and partners have already created. But each tenant can also have their own microapps. So as we move forward, a customer may have a set of their own microapps, as well as the ones that are the standard ones in the Citrix library. Citrix has got somewhere over 300 of them already, and you'll start seeing in here the sort of standard applications that you will probably be very familiar with, you know, SAP, Concur, these things. And then each tenant can decide to create future custom microapps. So this is the ability to actually use the microapp builder to build your own microapps from this. Before we did all of this, the only way really to find all of this was to be able to survey your users to see which pieces they use. And even in that, you could then only find what they're using, not where in the sequences they're using, and not the ability to create these microapps. And then, of course, this is a really key piece, is how we measure that productivity. So using average use times, using algorithms on here to work out the estimated time that we can save by using these as microapps. As time goes by, we'll be looking at performance as well. You know, performance is one of the big issues I have around this, is SaaS apps tend to be very slow and everything like that. So we create a way of learning those as well. We bring this all into the interface so we can see clearly who's using what, how long, and more importantly, if we move these to microapps, what's the performance gain on those? We have a process for all our applications of going through the stages of being able to discover them, adopt them, and deploy them, even with the workspaces piece. I'm going to go through these quite quickly because I'm nearly out of time, as usual, and the ability to see who's using these, which applications, by department, by user, by application. So how can we help? We can demonstrate the current use of these and how we can, if we move to microapps, how we can improve the productivity in the future. Discover those new workflows, which will allow us to create new microapps and being able to bring those in as well. And also understand more about the microapp and SaaS usage per department. The ultimate aim of this is to boost the Citrix microapps adoptions, which will allow us to see far more use of the Citrix Workspace product, which I really do see as the way forward for what we're doing with the deployment of applications these days. And then just to finish, I think, Rubal, if you want to...
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you so much, Nigel, for an amazing presentation. And I'm sure our customers will value what flexible IT is trying to do a lot. So thank you for that presentation. And Redo, it was great hearing about the latest features on Workspace. So thanks to you as well. So ladies and gentlemen, we can now move to Q&A. In case you have any questions now, please feel free to type them in the question and answers panel. And while you do that, I did talk about the promo in the beginning. So this is how you can claim it. Pretty straightforward. Please expect an email from us in the next 24 hours with the instructions to how to basically claim your gift. Just one quick note, we'll only be able to ship the gifts within the US because of the logistics challenge. So I do see some people have joined in from outside the US. Apologies. We won't be able to ship these gifts outside of the US. With that, let's move on to Q&A. If you can move to next slide, please, Nigel. And ladies and gentlemen, as I said, please feel free to type in your questions now. All right, so I have one question. How can I get hold of testing instance for both Citrix Workspace as well as for the flexible IT product?
Excellent. Redo, do you want to start?
Redo, are you on mute?
Apologies. So I was saying that it's a great question, Rubal, and there are basically two possibilities. If you're a partner or developer, or you want to get a developer instance, you can do that on developer.citrix.com, asking for an instance there. If you are a customer having Citrix Cloud tenant, after you log in, there is a microapp style available there, and if you hit request demo on the microapp style, our sales folks will reach out to you and will help you to get a trial approved, and also will walk you through the microapps experience. I mean the basic onboarding for that.
Excellent, thanks, Redo. And on the screen on the Q&A is our website, flexible.com/Apps2Digital. On there, you'll see info@apps2digital.com and more details around what we do around microapps. But the ability for us to spin you up an instance, it's very, very quick. We can get customers up and running within 5 minutes of this, literally of you sending something. It doesn't take us long to have a cloud instance ready for you to start trialing. So we'll give you some time to trial this as for free to start with, so you can see the benefits of these. We've got some really neat stuff where we can find all of this information out pretty quickly to start categorizing these.
Awesome, thank you. Another question coming in for you, Nigel. Can Apps2Digital measure usage of Citrix microapps compared along the last month?
Yes, absolutely. So the productivity piece will allow us to do both those. So it's not only looking at how you used to do these things and how they are now, but what the performance and how much usage of those microapps are as we move forward. Remember, we're we don't just finish by when we get the SaaS app data. We're looking at all the micro apps and everything as we move forward as well.
All right, awesome. So I don't think we have time for any more questions. I see a few questions coming in. So ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to keep typing those questions in. We'll answer them over email. And even after the webinar is over, if you have any more questions that you think of, please write an email to us at citrixready@citrix.com, and we'd be happy to answer them. So Nigel, any last words before we culminate the webinar?
No, I think it's really important that people now start looking at Citrix Workspace. It's been around for a while. It's taken people time to understand it, but I think there's a lot of detail out there, and the benefits of it to any Citrix customer or non-Citrix customer as well is immense. And it's been a real pleasure to be able to be involved in helping people understand this. So hopefully today has given a bit of an insight to people.
Absolutely, thank you. And Redo, if you have anything, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, thank you, Rubal. So as Nigel has said, we see a lot of opportunities with Apps2Digital to help our customers to identify the right use cases for pursuing further with the micro apps or turning them into the micro apps. So process mining or process discovery is an important piece that can basically leverage the machine learning and AI algorithms for organizations to understand where they should start and basically spin it off, or basically use this land and expand approach. So start small, identifying the key use cases based on Apps2Digital outcomes, and then basically find new use cases to help their employees to be more productive and happy.
Thank you. And thanks again, Rado and Nigel, for the wonderful presentations. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time to attend our webinar. This is Rubal Balia signing off, and hopefully I'll see you on our next webinars. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.